Hey, it's been a very long time. I've been meaning to come back onto this for a very long time. Um, there's just a lot of things that, have happened and halted this in the past. And for those of you that do or do not know me, my name is Matthew, and I am here to try to want to bring back the Best Mates podcast. Because for a while, I know that I had to move and I had a lot of things going on. And so did Brandon, who was the past co host um, for this entire idea that we had. That's all how this started. It was just an idea of two friends just coming together and wanting to say things off their mind. And we wanted nothing more than to definitely reach a lot of people. But obviously, as life goes on, there's just a lot of things that put a lot of things on hold, and and I know it's been a very long time, but I want to bring this back because for a while now, as I transferred schools, and there's a lot of things that you guys do. For those of you who are watching, if you choose to watch this, that are in Miami or another part of Florida, that I did move. There's a lot of things that I could cover in another episode, and I haven't said that in a long time. But there's just a lot of things that has happened with me. But to short and summarize it all up for you, I graduated, and so did Brandon. Um, I will say that, in all honesty, we kind of lost contact between each other. Um, he got busy doing his thing, but from afar, I would have looked at his Instagram, or I would have looked at what's going on with him, especially because of how well he was doing at school. And he's a very great guy. I think he's going to be very successful because, for those of you that do not know, he's going to be wanting to study film. He graduated as well. We both did. I graduated from a school over here in Orlando that I will not disclose as of yet. But basically, it was a very memorable experience that I've ever had. I met a lot of new people, but essentially, I want to say that I definitely found myself. And whenever I would share what I did back in Miami and growing up, everyone always asked me the question, so when are you going to bring it back? Especially my parents, and especially somebody very special that I found had always asked me that question. When are you thinking about going back to YouTube? Or when are you going to think about, starting the podcast again with your friend? Or just starting it again in general? And I would always have that question in my head so many times, especially when there was times where there was breaks, um, like winter break, Christmas break, summer break. But now that I'm an adult now, I'm 18, I drive, I got more responsibilities than ever. I got college now to think about. But if there's one thing I want to bring back, I want to bring back this. So say it as a revival. It's a resurrection, if you will. Um, that it's been a long time. I don't know how it's gonna be, or if I'm even gonna do like regular uploads, or if things are gonna go back to the way they are. But regardless, that's not what this point of this episode is. The point is I want to just talk about, a lot of things that have been happening. And I want to just talk about myself for a little bit so you guys can, have an update on one of us at least. And that's that, and about the things that I learned in high school. For sure, I learned a lot of things that I never thought I could be. For sure, something new that most of you don't know, or if anyone knows, is that I did music, obviously, but I wanted to keep that going. And I did it in a way that nobody really thinks about, or probably they do, because they've been doing it ever since childhood. But for me, I joined a marching band. Yeah. I marched for 2 years. I should have done it for 3, but me being scared and me being in a new environment when I transferred my sophomore year, and the move and everything, no friends, no nothing, just me alone over here in this new house. I just was stuck. And for all those people that probably may or may have not felt that way, I have felt stuck. And you probably might have felt stuck as well. But for me, with the push of friends and with the push of finding real good, solid people, and finding those people that I found that will definitely stay towards the end or for a very long time and be in good arms with, I learned that doing marching band has definitely opened me up for new possibilities and new types of characteristics that I never thought I'd have. I was essentially a player. I joined the drumline, one of the most intense sections in a marching band, for those of you that don't know. Drumline carries a lot in the band, essentially. As my director told me, whom I was mentored with, he would always say that we're the beat, we drive the band. And what I mean by that is that, without a beat, boom, 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 boom. Without that, where's the melody? That's just marching band term. For real quickly, I might come up with more of those later. But yeah, essentially, I learned about what being a leader is. Most especially because in just a knack of a year, as a junior, I learned that there was something called leadership, drum major, which is the person that conducts the band. I learned that I wanted to be so much more. I learned that I wanted to take more of these abilities and just enhance it, because if anything, the main goal from what this podcast was, and especially when I was in 6th grade and I started getting out of my shell, before everything, all the moving and stuff like that, the main purpose that I wanted to really achieve was, how can I impact something, a school, a club, that I eventually want to just, put the reins in and, be heartfelt and push myself and talk often and stuff like that, is how can I leave an impact before I leave, or before something ends, or something of that sort. And for the most part, I never thought of it being like this. I never really thought how I would do it. I had the idea. I just never knew how to take it and carry that, and how to put it into some of the stuff that I did, as well as, of course, being a student in school and in classes, and focusing and pushing myself to reach high expectations. And in all honesty, it was one of the hardest things that I felt like I ever did. But I already ended up becoming a part of leadership at that school. I ended up becoming a quartermaster, and essentially, well, every band's probably different or probably the same, but for those of you at this, for those that do not know, a quartermaster is essentially somebody that's it's kind of like the maid, or helping sort out. Okay, the drums need to be packed, the flutes and clarinets need to be packed up. We gotta load the buses, pack the snacks and drinks for we're about to play in the stands, and all sorts of those things like that. It's like being a volunteer, but I would always wish that I could have become a captain or something greater, even though I had like absolutely no music annotation, and I probably sucked. And probably the new people that are probably listening to this are gonna be like, yeah, he was trash. I I get it. It was pretty garbage, but I feel like I did a really good job most of the time. Um, I definitely learned how to play for sure. Um, the things we did, we basically marched in parades. We played in the stands when it was the football games. We played at pep rallies. We played at a lot of events. And we even got to go travel abroad. We went to two very important places. One place I don't really like talking about that much, but I went across the world. I went to Ireland. And then for my senior year, we went to Savannah, Georgia, and we marched in the St. Patrick Day parades in both those places, junior year and my sophomore, my junior year and my senior year. But sorry, I know the background, but essentially, I just never thought that this world of more of like what I want to do. I know what Brandon wants to do, but more of like how I see my world. I see it as like because what I mainly want to do, I want to mainly be my music therapist. That's my main goal. I want to still do music. I was always pondering the question of what do I do. Okay, I really love music. What else can I do with that? How can I combine everything that I've learned and that I've done into something that's gonna be so impactful to the other people that has also impacted me, even though I was only there for 2 years when I wish I should have been there for 3. But but either way, I wanted to grasp upon the idea of what else could I do. There's something else, and then I took my studies and I took my researches to everything, and I essentially went to basically think about what can I do for help, what can I give to everybody, in order to have the strengths that I had, give something give something to somebody that's not a material thing like an object or anything like that, but give a gift that's spiritual and bestowed upon somebody, and be able to carry that and have the idea of being able to have an idea and a spark, because that's what my whole years of high school and growing up have been, really. I just had to find that myself, but how can I help somebody else find that for themselves as well? So that's why I took it upon myself, and I wanted to be music therapist, because as much as it's a very underrated job that like nobody really ever thinks about, it's kind of growing. Um, but but I know for sure that it's definitely going to be something that's going to improve and become bigger. And why I say that is because unfortunately, with therapy around the world, just to briefly sum it up, therapy is definitely something that is the most important and valuable thing that everybody needs right now, because I know for a fact that there's a bunch of people in the world, and probably you even, that have some type of mental disorder or disability, or having mental issues, or not, or having mental awareness or anything like that. And it's something that that everybody struggles with. I mean, even I do. I have my own faults and I have my own things that happen. But but yeah, basically, I wanted to take that, but how can I make it more fun? How can I make it so impactful? How can I make it so it's not just like, sitting down at a chair the whole time and just talking with them? So I essentially wanted to go bigger. And then I found all the other types of therapies that there are. And I just thought of music therapy being as the most main thing that I wanted to do, because it combines something that I love and something that I want to have other people want to try and be a part of. Because here's the idea that I got one day, because I felt like God was talking to me, and then I explained it to my special friend first, and then I spread that around towards other things. And I use that a lot as one of the reasons why I want to do what I do, because marching band is a growing world, and it grows bigger and bigger every single day. There's DCI, there's even more competitive marching. There's so many things. And on top of that, music is something that a lot of people reflect on because they listen to it almost every single day. I reckon you listen to it every single day. You listen to new music, you listen to hip hop, pop, rap, hip hop, R&B. You listen to anything, and whatever it does that makes you happy one way or another. You listen to mariachi music, you listen to marching music. It doesn't matter. Regardless, music is in so many things, and I feel like it's something that I feel like it's a gift that God gave to us that we're able to really use, because music puts us into that zen, It puts us into that type of thing where it's like, I don't care what else is going on. I got my headphones and I got my earphones, and I'm just ready to just let loose, because sometimes even music inspires people. Because I know for one that I would listen to like music that like all of a sudden just make me so impactful. I'm like, yeah, I want to do stuff. I want to be really good, because the music, something about the music, about a certain part of the music that I listen to, even when it's just like practicing music. When I was practicing each day, I admit it, I didn't practice as much, but then as I started wanting to get better, I definitely started practicing more and more. Essentially, I basically wanted to do so much stuff. I wanted to impact so many people, because like there's a lot of lessons that my director spoke to me that I would probably like to share in another video. But I was able to learn so much about what it is, the capabilities of music, what it can do. So I thought I could just give it to somebody else and give the idea of that type of spark that I got to have and want to share with people. And especially I want to essentially share it with little kids, because music is so impactful and it makes everybody feel in a certain good way or bad way, or just something to help you cope. Just like, reading books or watching Netflix or catching up on that new binge watching show, or whatever it is. It's something that you do that, impacts you so much that you just want to just be like, okay, I'm in my zen, I'm in my own box, I'm in my own square. I'm fine. Everything's all good now. So, yeah, that's pretty much why I wanted to do it, because I want to help the kids of the future. Because unfortunately, I would hear of a lot of studies that go that a lot of kids take away their lives every single day. They get suicide thoughts each and every single day, because something has happened in their life. They have lost somebody. They have been in an abusive relationship with parents, or they were just abandoned, or anything of that sort. And I would want to take that, and I want to be somebody that can give the gift of music, and also therapy, and also giving them therapy work at the same time. Because unfortunately, for a lot of therapists, there's not that many in the world. And if there is, there's the fact that they're so overbooked, and there's just so many that are in the world that I know of, that are obviously top organizers and top organizations in the medical field about about therapists and therapy and psychology and stuff like that. But there's just so many people in the world that have this problem, even worldwide. It's not just here in America. It's here in China. It's here in Russia. It's here in Europe in general. It's everywhere, and it's one of the most valuable things that man and woman need. So I would say that it's something that's very something that is something that is a big matter in the world. Sorry late uh, for the late delay and everything going on, but and basically the main idea, just to finish it all off, for why I chose this, is because like I said, band is something that's growing worldwide, nationally, and I see it almost everywhere. But the also main part is because it's led a lot of kids that, even I believe, especially kids that have a lot of mentality issues or anything like that, they're gonna significantly improve, and they're gonna be able to take that, and they're not gonna be fearful in the world. So what I want to do is I want to work with kids and incorporate marching therapy, where I would teach them how to march, how to step, um, do like fun activity kind of things, but also help them prepare for, like, any certain things, or help them develop those skills, but also at the same time do individual therapy in terms of like music compensations and all sorts of things like that. And if I could do that, and spin it off, I think that'll work really well, because the reason why I think of this is because I got this off of an idea of a man named Dr. Dan. It was based on this documentary I saw about Legos, because I'm a pretty big Lego fan. But in the interview, he basically stated how, as part of his therapy sessions that he would do, that he was a pretty well renowned uh, medical professional, and specialized with kids with autism and ADHD. And he had a thing called Lego therapy, where he basically got a set and he'd spread out them evenly amongst like a ton of tables, and he had them all group up at one each table, and they worked on the set and finished it themselves. So like one of them was the builder, one of them was the instruction handler, one of them was brick the brick giver or something like that. And he ended up writing a study, and that study proved to be super successful, because as he had said in one of the, I'm not fully quoting it, but if I can, because I don't remember it, but he stated how those kids significantly got way better, in their speech and their communication skills and all that stuff. That all improved very well, despite also the other kids that he would work regular therapy sessions with. And it just proved to be super successful and a global success. And now I believe, and I see that it's definitely everywhere now, or it is starting to jumpstart, because this was like a report that happened like pretty much a pretty long time ago. I think like 2017, 2016. I don't remember, but I thought that if I could do that, I could spin that off and do kind of like what he did, where it's gonna take a lot of time, pretty big team, or maybe just me. But I know for a fact that it would be for the greater good, because if I could give that kind of idea and leave it, where other professionals that I train, hopefully, if it spins off well and all things go well, and the studies prove that they're ready and they're getting what they need, they're communicating well, they're helping deal with their disabilities or any type of mental issues, or helping cope with their mental illness, they're able to be ready to go out into the world. And what I mean by that is also, like, let's say like they're gonna join high school or they're gonna join middle school, and they do band, and they know nothing about it, but they want to do it, and they're able to just take a shot because they're ready to go. They're not ready to back down, because the marching and music world is so universal, and it's a type of world that is like so accepting, if that makes sense. And what I mean by accepting, I mean the fact that, a musician recognizes another musician, or in this case, a dancer recognizes a dancer, or a cheerleader recognizes a cheerleader. You guys have like that kind of moment of where you're like, oh wow, you do that too, or you're gonna do that too? That's awesome. And let me help you give tips. Or they're not gonna be afraid to, like, um, interact with those kind of like people, because they're gonna be the exact same. They're gonna be either even more fearless or even more, more fearful and stuff like that or whatever. But that's just basically the main idea what I want to do with my future career. I mean, I'll talk more about it another time. Um, but but there was just also a lot of bad things that had happened. Also, I mean, there's a lot of struggles. And with that, I want to definitely. This is probably a very long time, but faith time. I forgot what it was called. Um, Honestly, I want to incorporate faith a lot because, in spite of everything else that I did, because I also did journalism, I basically made my yearbook for my senior year. I helped make that. I did interviews and everything, and I got a huge spite and interest of wanting to just pick this up again just because I did that, Because I did journalism. I interviewed people and I started getting better with my speech and talkings and starting to put myself out there. For sure, that's definitely what, like, all these years of experiences have helped me to see and realize. And I guess of the fact that because I just got so bored, I get pretty bored a lot. There's just not as much to do. So I guess I just felt like, most importantly, before I continue on, that this was something that I kind of wanted to get out. I wanted to sit down, try to revive this, and wanted to ask Brandon Jimenez, would you like to hopefully come on back? I know it's probably like super early into the video, but I mean, doors always open, man. I can't do this. Well, I mean, I probably can, but well, I'm not gonna say it like that. But I'm just saying, like, it won't be the same way if it wouldn't be for you, and definitely helping and being the main pioneer of this project that we decided to do together. So, man, hopefully all is doing good. Praying for you especially, man. Congratulations for you and to your accomplishments and where you're going for college. I heard you're going to Miami-Dade Public College, I believe. Hope all is good for you, man. Don't worry, I'm in that community college boat too. But here's to struggling times, but also great times, brother. Amen. But either way, back to the episode. I just got a sense of feeling like I needed to do this because what had sparked this idea in the first place to bring it back also was just one day I finished school, like I had graduated, and like 2 weeks in, I was so bored because it just wasn't much to do. I think I'd have all the freedom in the world, stuff like that. It just sometimes it does feel like that, sometimes it just doesn't, But with that, it led me to like the nostalgic thing where it's like I wish I could always go back. I still feel that way, and I feel like it gets worse and worse well, not worse and worse, but just more more of a great feeling, and something that's just becoming bigger and bigger for sure. But I just hope that I'm able to keep on heading, pushing forward. But anyway, I ended up just sitting down one day, and all of a sudden I just got this. No, I wasn't sitting down. My bad. Wrong. That's the other thing. What originally was that I ended up going on a walk. I just walked around my neighborhood, and basically I was just walking. I was just basically just kind of in anger, I guess, or just in the fact that there's just a lot of things going on. I was just overall really getting sick and tired of just not doing much. But then I just started thinking about the podcast and the things that I used to do, And then the question that everyone would always ask me, would you bring it back? Would you bring it back? Because funny enough, before I would always be like always asked to always bring this back, or when are you gonna bring it back? Because when I was a sophomore, I was interviewed, so I had my own story that I was interviewed by a previous yearbook senior in my sophomore year. And I got a whole page to myself. I'm not to brag or anything, but I got a whole page to myself about what it is I am in terms of being a transfer student. And then I ended up being an interviewer. Made a story and stuff like that, and a bunch of other cool stuff, and taking a lot of good pictures because I also did photography classes during my senior and junior year, because there was photo 1 and photo 2, and I was able to learn how to edit better photos and all sorts of things. But I'll get more into that into another thing or later on. I don't know. But that question stormed my head a lot when I was walking, and then I'm like, you know what? I think I have an idea. And then all of a sudden, I just started brainstorming pretty much, or like literally thinking, not like a script, but like literally exactly how the episode was gonna be, what I was gonna say, how I was gonna act, and how long. Well, maybe not how long, but just me uploading in and hopefully generating somewhat of an audience. I estimate it's probably not gonna get that many. I mean, it's a small channel, but I just remembered exactly like how I would come off, how I would start it, and everything going on, and then especially, of course, asking at something pretty important bit in the back, but and just talking about myself a little bit, pretty much big update, what's going on, and share with you how I've been, what it's like gonna be for this, because I understand that this kind of faded away. I'm not gonna say die, because die is a little more risque, or more type of profound verb to use, but it just sort of faded away, and I'd always get the question a lot. So, and because of my special someone, I'm not gonna say anything or much about that, but I ended up, and then after that walk, the next day I woke up and I basically called said person, and I basically had the whole thing just explaining like how I got it to be, and how I feel like God was definitely influencing to me, because this podcast is of course related to faith, and how much far more important my faith is now because of what I was able to see this year and what I was able to be in. So for sure, I definitely just talked about that, and how I wanted them to be also a part of the journey, like in terms of supporting wise. So basically, they said I am all for it, and they thought it was a great idea. I just didn't know when I wanted to do it, but I think the time was, I felt like the time would have been now, because it just got to the point where I just couldn't shake it, and I just, for one, I wanted to do something and be productive, but number two, because I just felt like it just needed to be out there, because it was like, of course, it was like the Spirit of God and Jesus wanting to bestow upon me the words of what, and the action of what I was going to do. Because that's how it was for me for those 3 years, the rest of the 3 years, because I ended up transferring from after a different type of high school. For those 3 years that I was at this high school, I felt like I had lost connection in the faith, for sure. I was still, gravely and very, very much faith, and had a lot of wisdom and stuff like that. But it just felt like I wasn't getting anywhere, or it just wasn't the potential that it was supposed to be. Like I had it in the back of my head, and I knew what to say, or, well, not know what to say, but like when I would be taking my religion classes, or I would give seminars because that's what I did my senior year. I basically did like kind of seminars when I started joining campus ministry. I didn't join campus ministry until my senior year, or get more involved in it when it was my senior year, until it was my senior year. But I I always just knew the type of deep answers and the wisdom I had, and a lot of people always complimented me for it. But then, of course, I'd walk out of the room because I was gonna be late to my class or something like that, or I would make the class time go by way fast, and I would leave my creativity skills into a lot of projects and do my absolute very best in school. Boy, do we love projects! It's so fun. Um, but at the end of the day, I just felt like there was a lot more than why he gave me this wisdom out of nowhere. Well, I know I'm probably not the most wise guy, most wisest person on the earth, but I feel like I'm one of those types of, or at least an individual that has this preferred reason why. So I felt like it was as if he was talking to me, or just giving me that set idea, because it is said that in a lot of scriptures, because lately I would always be also getting a lot of TikTok faith videos, like, those ones where it's like, please don't scroll. And I'd honestly listen to them. Obviously, I just favorite them sometimes whenever I just really didn't feel like it or anything like that, but I would go back. Or I would just play it out while I just closed my eyes and just try to imagine like if he was talking to me. And then over the years, it obviously got harder because it just felt like this was annoying. Or, honestly, I'm just gonna say that it had to me felt annoying. But I had to realize that this was for a reason. Eventually we all get those types of emotions where we can only take but so much. But I wanted to share that the fact that I was able to do it um, because at the end of it, I knew that there was going to be something good to come out of it. And what came out of it was a lot of the things that God had bestowed upon me. He gave me the gift of music. He gave me the gift of making that choice to choose to do band. Mainly because the reason why I didn't choose to do it beforehand is because I was just too scared. I was small. I didn't know what I was doing. And a bunch of other things that he bestowed upon me. But it wasn't until then and now that I'm starting to realize why this thing needs to be awake. It was awake, but I just didn't know what to do with it. Or if I did, I just didn't use it to like the full potential or anything that God wanted me to intend to. Because at the end of the day, I know that in Scripture, it's all about how the scary thing is that what I learned is that you can go live your life and you could be as graceful as you can be. You can be one of the nicest persons in the world. But if you just don't share the word of Christ in any way, shape, or form, even just the gospel, even spreading the good news, even spreading anything, and impacting those among you, because the whole journey part of life that and everything that I want to do is how am I going to get these people or my friends, my people, and everyone else that I'm probably going to meet in the future, most definitely in the future, how am I going to lead them to heaven, even if they do or do not have that faith? I mean, how are they going to live like a good life and going to look back at life going like, I had a great time down here on this earth. I know it's such a random topic to start off on, but that's just how it has been. In terms of like how I start things, I always go to the deep side. but yeah, that's just the main objective, because I want to bring you guys up there. I mean, I'm probably not even going to get up there, in all honesty, because I always felt that way. But, because everyone in this life deserves to go up there, even, unfortunately, the most hated people in the world, especially today, that we just don't like, they even deserve to go up there, because they were created by our true Father, our true and divine spiritual Father that is within all of you right now. Um, they're with you and they're always going to be in our lives, whether we like them or not. Or there's going to be so many of those people that just tell us bad things, like, annoying teachers or parents sometimes that we bicker and fight. Eventually, you just learn to realize that they deserve to go to heaven because of what they have done somehow, some way, whether it was good or bad. That no one deserves to be in an eternal hell. And I sure as hell do not believe that nobody wants to be living eternally for the rest of for God knows how long, living eternally in punishment. Because you don't want to be in judgment day and having the question of, has my faithfulness, or has my faithful divine son or divine daughter shared and not denied in front of, or has denied, or shared or anything like that towards my other brother, to his or her other brothers and sisters, and to my children. And someone said, and then one of the angels says, no, they did not. They did not, Father. And then you're just panicking because you know it's over. That's what I felt, and that was what one of those TikToks showed. It was a very scary thought, the fear of judgment. We're all meant to fear God. It is something that is a very scary thing. And I don't mean fear God like, oh my God, he's just gonna banish me or something like that. No, that's not what I mean. I mean fear God of the fact that, he's all powerful, but he's the one true God. And that it is okay to be feared, because you're not meant to fear other things. Fear devil, because you realize that God is going to be superior above all. And so the way I see it is that I want to be able to not have you guys go through that kind of fear, because I've been in fear practically almost all my life, and I probably still might be. But it's what I want to do now that I want to bring you guys up there. I want to be able to bring everyone that I have, everyone that I love, and everyone that I have met, or everyone that I'm going to meet in the future, to all those future people. I want to get you out there. And I just wanted to say as much as I can in all these episodes. Hopefully that I'll be able to drop each time, because I realize now it's not just something to do it for clout. This is something that I have to realize that when we started this idea, me and Brandon, that we had to realize that eventually it wasn't going to be just for clout. It's not for clout. It's what we're trying to do and what we want to do, and what I want to bring back is the main idea of supporting and being those kind of people and advocates for people in faith, or people those not in faith. Maybe they just want to hear good talk or good funniness or stuff like that, or just random talks in general, maybe just to help them out or just cope, even if we have a small audience or not, or they just don't listen, which that's totally okay. But to bring the idea, not the cloutness, the idea of bringing our brothers and sisters up to heaven, and helping achieve everyone else a great life, because we all get one life, and we all got our gifts that we have, and we're all meant to share them with other people. I'm not saying I'm the perfect person at all, because I'm definitely not. There's a lot of things that all of us have done, whether good or bad, doesn't matter. You're a beloved child of God. You're a beloved child of somebody. Even if for those that have been abandoned or don't believe that that's true, I believe that it's true that you were created out of love. Because a funniest thing, not to like go into like topics here or anything, I'm not trying to do topics, but you know, funny thing was that, Hitler, I know this is very strange, but for a man like that everybody hates in the world, I mean, I'll admit it, even I hate him too. He was nothing but just a innocent kind of kid. He just went on the base of influence of other grown up kids when he was growing up, and he just wanted nothing more than to just spread his art because his father, and this is a history lesson, his father did not really like him that much. He would always be abused very badly. Until his older brother, I think it was his older, I don't really remember the history too much. I got it off of watching a video from a project, but I just know that growing up as a child for a guy like him that raised to be into the person that we unfortunately know him in the history books and stuff, he was just somebody that just wanted to do something for the greater good, or not the greater good, just just be somebody that's just wanted to be a part of us. In real reality, he applied for Ivy League School of Art, and he was unfortunately rejected, and then unfortunately just thrown out the streets and all poor. And his mother died, his father died, and he was just there, just all alone. I mean, nobody wants to be that way. That's the real thought there, abandonment. Nobody wants to be that way. And in all honesty, I feel that way too, a lot, most of the time. But that just goes to show like how human we all are. We're all human, and the fact that we just don't want to be left alone, left behind. And even though we've had that kind of intention of like, oh, well, I can't do that because I'm not as cool as them, or I'm not the greatest like him, I'm not as successful as him or her, or I don't have that kind of body or stuff like that. It's a hard ripple to get out of. I mean, I'm in that ripple too, and you're not the only one. But we're all meant to be up there, one way or another. So, if you didn't know that then, or if you did, or just didn't believe it, I hope you know that now. So, I don't know what much more there is to, in terms of like how I want to do this, but I just know the main thing I want to do. I want to talk and based off freely, like what's on my mind, and talk about the things that I want to talk about, and then most importantly, for the indefinite reason, combine this whole entire thing of in terms of an episode and talk to what is the whole message, like we've always been doing, but not like doing segments or anything. Just just hop on, click record, and just talk with people and connect with people from hopefully eventually around the world, or just spread across a family, or even just a school or something like that. Just something to bring spark to somebody, because that's the main goal here. That's my main goal. I just want to leave the world a good place before I die. And even though it started off as a funny kind of thing that we thought of wanting to do, then turned serious. It's definitely more serious to me now that I've been asked the question so many times of what are you going to do? When are you going to bring it back? Well, hi. I'm back. And I hope you stick around. Brandon Jimenez, if again you're out there, if you see this, when and if you see this, door's always open, man. I'm willing to want to talk to you about a lot of things. And I'm sure you probably have a lot of things you want to share too. And if not, that's okay. And also to the other future people, all the future people that I'll probably meet in my life, or things I'm gonna do. I'm really willing to meet you, and to the people that are listening to this that I am with and that I have right now. Thank you. And thank you for those experiences. This is me now. And I just hope that it was worth the wait.